Rush Cyberfunk and Sludge Life, a couple games about vandalism. Both feature graffiti and urban traversal prominently, and in both, graffiti is seen as challenging the appearance of order in the public space. Everything is neat, clean, and functional till someone comes to dirty the place up. The public space is not a neutral space. In the games we see huge billboards everywhere, buildings being branded, which is something you can do if you have the money. This space, that should be public and catering to the needs of the majority, thus becomes hostage of who has the money to manipulate it and use it for their benefit. Consequently, the dispute for the space might include covering advertisement with graffiti. People might not find graffiti aesthetically appealing, but it's clear that not all advertisement boards are aesthetically appealing either. So the problem in the collective unconscious lies elsewhere. It is the break with the normality of a public space that isn't publicly controlled that is aggravating to us. We don't own the public space. Information and advertisement does. In Sludge Life, we aren't safe from this, even in the privacy of our own laptop. Constant pop-ups plague our screen and interrupt our focus on whatever we're doing. We don't even own spaces that should be private. In a world where the space is left to be covered by information and advertisement, graffiti is subversive. The dispute of the public space is done through the apparent violence of vandalism and destabilizing an apparent order, an order for the few. Claiming these spaces is also done through occupation. People have illegally occupied the abandoned housing blocks and made clandestine public gyms. The public pool isn't functional, and someone is constantly trying to fix it with no avail. The lack of a public pool is seen as normal though. Public pools aren't really essential or useful, or so goes the discourse. But this argument is only brought up because it affects the people that don't have a say about what they want in the spaces they inhabit. When we climb the Glug Tower, we see the millionaire at the top bathing in a jacuzzi. Do jacuzzis serve a different, essential, general purpose different from a pool? Everything is hazy and clouded, sharp colors seen through slight chromatic aberrations, the modulated pitch from the songs, giving them a slightly detuned aura, the mushroom trips that allow you to check inaccessible areas of the map for a limited time before the high comes down, how you throw up on the spot, is the solution to really leave everything behind, like in the good ending. There is competition among the taggers, and a great level of individualism and self-expression. Taggers, after all, aim to cover walls with their own names or unique pieces. But in Sludge Life, this is also followed by enablement. We're able to unlock new spots to tag after we make contact with all the taggers in the city and meeting them and collaborating. Individualism and identity are very prominent topics in Rush Cyberfunk as well. The protagonist, Felix, is murdered by what would later be the main villain of the game, out of jealousy and lack of acceptance. But they're also seen talking about how Felix likes to work by himself and wants to conquer the city, meaning become the most relevant tagger and controlling all neighborhoods, alone. The game doesn't seem to recognize that we as Felix end up beating the game collaborating with multiple different other taggers though. The subversion is maybe more obvious here. We are chased by the police who will escalate disproportionately to our tagging antics by sending snipers and attack helicopters. There's a bit of a clunky twist in the ending as one of the main villains, Irene, an apparently high-ranked member of the police, switches sides and helps the main crew of protagonists, claiming the police have recently been corrupted, explaining their violent actions. But they haven't gone rogue. The orders have always come from high up, and they've always done what they were supposed and asked to do, even escalating to use heavy weaponry. So the game is kind of afraid to go forward with this narrative of oppression and disproportionate violence till the end. Police corruption is also brought up when Foe, the main villain, now controlling the police, confesses part of the reason for him killing Felix, his rival, was due to the fact of him being the son of a cop who helped him cover for his crimes. Another alibi is created here for the oppression by the groups that control the city. It turns out it's Fo who's making the police bad for his own gain. But it's the police and the higher-ups who designed the plan to use Fo to get rid of the taggers in the first place. And they almost succeed. The city is called New Amsterdam, and it looks anything but new. It's never stated clearly why the state wants to get rid of taggers so bad. They're just painted as intrinsically bad. Unconsciously, the dominating groups identify the threat to them represented by graffiti, that cities can be more than a space controlled by money. Here we ride again through the city covering billboard ads and even writing on them, and close to the ending, Felix mentions how tagging wouldn't be worth it if it was illegal. He also brings up his obsession with competing, again without realizing how collaboration has brought him further than anything else. Again, it is not about if graffitis look aesthetically pleasant or not. The last area of the game is, interestingly enough, the closest one to a dystopic version of an ad-ridden metropolis with endless skyscrapers and huge billboards installed on them. Public transportation doesn't exist either, contrary to some of the initial areas. In Felix's dreams, starting from when we're still red, the anonymous robot had on Fo's body, we see the city deconstructed and reduced to blocks floating around, which we need to navigate by ourselves, not competing with anyone. A reality in the future, a post-city, even beyond taggers. Or rather, where taggers are no longer needed, where the concept of the public space is destroyed and rebuilt, and the city is rescued from the few that hold it ransom, and where we're free to express ourselves for ourselves and not in favor of some sort of arbitrary competitive concept.